Fauji Talk Show, which promises to share stories of many inspiring speakers on board. I am Shavinda and I am the host of this IESECCI initiated wonderful power-packed global talk show series. Coming from a very humble family background and having studied in Marathi medium to a very shy person and then getting commissioned as a pilot officer in the Indian Air Force, your journey is truly inspiring. Please welcome Suvarnarekha Joshi, our guest for today's show.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
It's wonderful to be in conversation with you, but before that, I want to introduce this fearless lady to all of you. She did her graduation in statistics from Ruhi Art College and then post-graduation in statistics with operation research and actuarial science as specialization from Mumbai University. After completing 1 year of rigorous training at Indian Air Force Academy, got commissioned as a pilot officer. Had the privilege of being, among the first women officer expedition to Mount Rudragiri and first combat para jumper. She is happily married to helicopter pilot captain Sanjeev Kumar Nair, who she met during the Kargil 1999. She has got one son, young son, who's 20 years old and has just finished his graduation in geology. Yes. In 20 years of her glorious journey as a pilot officer, she loves to meet people, especially girls, whom from a humble background but dreams big as it reminds of her childhood days. That's Wing Commander Joshi in front of all of us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Once again, welcome to the show.
It's my privilege.
Absolutely. I am so eager to ask the question, how did you join Indian Air Force?
Ma'am, it was a real adventure story. I wanted to join, I had attraction for uniform right from childhood, but really didn't know how to go about it. Way back in 1980, we didn't have so much information available. And I was doing my schooling in a very small school, Gurukul type of school in Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Nutan Vidya Mandir, very small school. So really didn't know how to go about it. I used to enjoy the scout guide in the school where I used to get opportunity to wear uniform. Later, like any other normal shy child, I finished my 10th standard. But with God's grace, in the 10th standard, I got 91%, and I stood 19th among students in Maharashtra. I came in the merit list, and that gave me so much confidence boost that I can do something. I can definitely achieve my dreams. So I got an admission in good college, Ruya College. I did my studies, BSc in statistics with operation research as specialization, and then subsequently I did my master's in statistics, again specialization in operation research and actuarial science. While doing so, I wrote a letter to National Defense Academy, and I wrote a letter to even Prime Minister asking that I wish to join Air Force. I wish to join armed forces. So how do I go about it? But I really didn't get any reply. Those days only letters would work. There was no email. There was no other platform available. So I thought maybe I'll have to continue with my routine normal life. That's the time one of my friends called me and she said that in the newspaper she saw the advertisement that women are being inducted in the Indian Air Force. So she said, why don't you join? So I actually counter question her, why don't you join? So she said, look, I'm married and for this you need to be unmarried. So I immediately looked for the advertisement, applied for it, and I didn't know the statistics then. Subsequently, I came to know that there were only 6 vacancies and 90,000 girls from all over India had applied. So when I told this to my parents laughed it out that you don't stand any chance there. I said, let's wait. And as luck could have been, I actually got a call for service selection board at Dehradun. There are 3 service selection boards for Indian Air Force. Dehradun, Varanasi, and Mysore. Now, of course, 3 more have come up, but those days there were only 3. So I got a call for Dehradun. You won't believe, this was the first time I was stepping outside Mumbai. I boarded the outstation train for the first time in my life, and my parents accompanied me because I had never traveled alone. So when we reached Dehradun and we were received by the reception party, my parents saw the other girls there, and my father then and there told me, "Are you sure you want to stay back?" Because they were all girls from mostly from North India, and they were very tall, good looking, fair, and here I was, dark, small, with 2 plaits, tied my hair. But still, I said, since we have come so far, let me try. And as luck could have been, I was the only one selected from that group. Because out of 90,000, they had shortlisted 3,000 girls, and they had divided these 3,000 into 3 batches, one at Dehradun, one at Varanasi, one at Mysore. So out of this 1,000 girls, they were going to select 2, and 4 more from other 2 SSBs, and these 6 girls would have joined. So I got selected. Subsequently, I got a call for my medical examination at Air Force Central Medical Establishment at New Delhi. I did my medicals, but unfortunately in the medicals, I had slight cold, so I was put temporarily medically down. And I was told to come back again after 15 days. But by then, my cold I couldn't recover from the cold, and I couldn't join the first batch. And I was so disappointed. I felt as if there's nothing left now. But then somehow, I don't know how I got the courage. I again applied, and subsequently I got a call at Mysore SSB, and this time I was very well prepared, because when I went to Dehradun SSB, I wasn't very sure, because I had never ever faced any such thing in life. I come from completely civil background. Not a single person in my family had ever joined armed forces, so I really didn't know what to expect. So when I went to Dehradun SSB, I was completely unaware what am I supposed to do. But when I went second time to Mysore SSB, I was quite well prepared, and it was really a cakewalk. And 2nd July 1993, I got a call to join Air Force Academy Dundigal, Hyderabad, for the training, and that's how my journey in Indian Air Force began.
That's so inspiring to know that, from that 90,000, there were just handful, not even handful who were, selected, and you were one among them. And the best part is, while you were saying that you were from a small, from a humble family, and just imagine your dreams actually led where you wanted to be. So I'm sure it's absolutely very inspiring to hear this. Continuing with the same type of question, I want to know, I'm sure you must have had many adventurous stories to share. Could you just share one incident from your Air Force days?
Yeah, I must confess that for me, the best memories of Indian Air Force is I got opportunities to do various adventure courses, which as a civilian, probably I wouldn't have. Those days, skydiving was never available for the civilians. So while I was in the Air Force, I applied for this skydiving course. Before that, I applied for the parajumping course. And when I applied, they didn't know. I wrote as my name as Flying Officer S. Joshi. Now, they didn't know it was a lady officer. So they called me for the course. And when I reported at Agra Paratroopers Training School, the instructors were surprised to see a girl. They said, oh, they were not prepared to train a girl. But then I must say that Indian Air Force is the best organization as far as accepting the women officers. They were very cooperative. They said, no, we will take it as a challenge. And that's how my training at Paratroopers Training School started. With me, there were 300 in Jawans from Maratha Light Infantry. So they were doing this course as a profession. I was doing it as more of an hobby. But the best part was when they were doing this course, their sahab, the drill sahab or the trainer, we used to call him master dispatcher, used to always tell them that, "Dekho, ladki kar sakte to aap kyun?" Now that used to put more and more pressure on me that there's no way I can go back. So I still distinctly remember my first jump when the aircraft at the 4,000 feet height opened and you are standing on the ramp and you are ready to jump. You have goosebumps in your stomach. You want to go back. Uh, Unknowingly, you say Chhatri Mata ki jai. You know there is no Chhatri Mata, but everybody shouts Chhatri Mata ki jai. Chhatri Mata is parachute basically, and so yeah. So and I was quite underweight then. I was just 47 kgs, and minimum weight required for the parachute to get deployed is 50 kgs. So on ground, one instructor had told me that, look, when you jump from the aircraft, you will think as if you're not coming down. You will feel you're floating, but you're actually coming down at a great speed. So don't worry. So I was the best part about armed forces is they train you so well on ground that when you are taken to the air, you're quite confident to handle any situation. So when I was about to, I was the first in the line. There are two sticks. One is star port, and other one is port. There are two engines, star engine and port. So I was on the star engine side, and there were 20 Jawans behind me. And there is no talk in the air because you can't hear. Everything is with the signal, sign language. So the master, and I was the first to jump because it is very difficult for the first jumper because all the people who are behind are not actually seeing the depth. It is only the first person who is standing on that ramp is seeing the ground underneath. So I was the first person to jump, and the master dispatcher looked at me, gave me a thumbs up that ready to go. I said, good to go. And that's the time the Jawan behind me started getting restless. And there are three lights, yellow, green, and red. So the dispatcher says yellow on, green on. When it's green on, you have to go 20 seconds, the entire stick is out. So they say yellow on, green on, go, 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 go. I still remember the drill very distinctly in my mind. And as the green signal went and I was ready to jump, that was the time the Jawan behind me caught my leg and जोर से चिल्लाया कि साहब मैं jump नहीं मारूंगा, साहब मैं jump नहीं मारूंगा. And in the bargain, I was half outside in the air and half in the aircraft. My parachute had got stuck. It was a special emergency, and it was my first experience. But the master dispatcher luckily wriggled me out of that situation, quickly pulled me up, and the red light was on, and the pilot quickly diverted the aircraft, and we were all safe. Of course, after coming back to the ground, we all got huge amount of ragda. Ragda means a lot of punishment. That how can you do such a thing when you were trained so well on ground? So that was a very memorable experience I had.
Quite an adventurous incident to remember for a lifetime.
But then subsequent jumps, I was quite confident. In fact, in my night jump, I got completely drifted away from the dropping zone. Dropping zone is a place where everybody lands, and you have to be extremely precise about how you get dropped. Otherwise, there will be accidents. You may fall on the tree. You may fall on the high tension cables. So the pilot and the navigator has to be extremely precise to bring the aircraft on the dropping zone. And the weather also plays a very important part because the wind has to be very calm. But night jump, unfortunately, that day the winds were slightly high, and I got completely drifted away. As such, I was lightweight. So instead of landing in the dropping zone, I landed almost outskirts of that dropping zone in a village called Malkapur. Now, yeah, and the thing is, when you land on the ground, you're supposed to shout out and give a call that I have landed safely, because only when number one clear, number two, number three, likewise, everybody gives a call. That's the time they realize that, okay, all 20 have safely landed. That's the time they give a call to pilot saying that, okay, all safe, you can drop the second line. But then, since I was far away from the dropping zone, my voice couldn't have reached the people, and everybody thought that I must have had some kind of an emergency. I could see the emergency ambulance, the fire brigade, everybody rushing and trying to locate me. And here I was quite nicely enjoying the peaceful weather and landed at Malkapur village. Of course, luckily within next 3 minutes I was picked up. So that was also very, very memorable for me.
Incidentally, I am presently at Agra, and I have had the privilege to, see the Air Force Station. I can barely imagine your memories associated with that. It's so beautiful to know that.
Yes.
Today's episode is very important for young generation and who are keen to join Air Force, or forces for that matter. So, what is the process of selection in armed forces, and what preparations are required?
Ma'am, the selection procedure now is very, very simplified. Earlier, of course, there were slight issues, but now the information flow is very, very good because of the availability of internet and social media, that people in the remotest village will also come to know when the selection process is going to start. Basically, the selection is conducted twice in a year. There is an entrance exam called Air Force Common Admission Test, AFCAT. When you apply for joining Indian Air Force, I'm talking about Indian Air Force, but the procedure is more or less similar for the other two, Navy as well as Indian Army. So when you apply for this organization, if you're shortlisted, then you get a joining, the call letter for appearing for this Air Force common admission test. Basically, it's a very, very simple exam like any other competitive exam, but there are negative markings. So if you're very sure, I would ask the young aspirants that if you're very sure, then only attempt those questions. And it's a very simple exam. You get books, you have the online sample papers available. You can go through that. There's a site available. And then once you clear this Air Force Common Admission Test, there is a cutoff. Depending on the number of vacancies available, there is a cutoff, and then they call number of people who are in the merit list. Once you fall in the merit list, you get a call to come for the SSB, that is Service Selection Board. Like I said, it's a 5 days test basically. In that, it's a very, very time-tested selection process where you undergo various psychological tests, various written tests like word association tests, situation reaction tests. Like you are given 60 situations, you are given one situation and given 30 seconds time, and you are supposed to write your reaction to it. So how quickly you think, how quickly you react, your presence of mind, your leadership qualities, your integrity, your other various qualities are tested. You go through this 5 days service selection board, wherein there are 3 types of people: the psychologist, the interviewing officer, and there is a GTO, ground test officer. And when all these 3 people recommend the candidate, that's the time you get through the selection process. Once you are through the SSB, then also the fight is not over. After that, again, there is a common merit list form. And again, then depending on the vacancies, you are called for the medical examination. Now, the medical examination is also very, very rigorous. It is 2 days or 3 days process at various Air Force hospitals where they thoroughly check you. I would like to tell here that even slight marking on your body, like tattoo, is not acceptable. So be very clear. Those who are wanting to join armed forces, please don't get into all these things so that you don't face any problems. So once you clear your medical examination, then you're good. Again, there is a merit list form, and then if you're in the merit list, then you're good to go. Then you're called for the training at Air Force Academy. 1 year, 52 weeks training. Post that, you get commissioned as a flying officer and then join various units. So it's fairly simple process, but the preparation, I would say, is be very, very truthful to yourself. There are n number of classes available where they actually tutor you. They actually fabricate the response given by you. But let me be very honest with you. What you are. So don't try to put on something. Be very, very truthful to yourself. Give very true responses to the various questions asked. Don't give those tutored stereotype answers, because they know what you are. They can see through you. The psychologists are very, very well trained at the service selection board. So the preparation, I would say, is be very current with your current affairs, and physically fit. Yes, you should. Nowadays, of course, the awareness about fitness is quite good. So do a little jogging, walking, keep yourself fit, keep your weight under check, and then I think for armed forces you don't really require very heavy and very intelligent people. You need to be very mediocre. You need to be physically and mentally strong. That's it.
Beautiful. This is a very important piece of information that you shared. The young generation must know what to do and what not to do. These are very important aspects and you have very precisely explained to us how to go about it. Continuing with the conversation, I also want to know what is the present condition of women officers in the armed forces?
Well,
because it's a special episode.
In fact, I must proudly tell you, yesterday only, the first lady officer test engineer passed out from ASTE, which is one of the very, very prestigious thing to do. So as far as Indian Air Force is concerned, I must proudly say that Air Force had been extremely cordial and forthcoming to accept us in various branches. That's why Indian Air Force was the first organization to induct women, train them. They were the first organization to give opportunity to women in each and every branch. You must have heard that last year, the first batch of fighter pilots also passed out. So
Yes.
as on date, not a single branch is left in the Indian Air Force, which is where the women have not been given opportunity. So as far as women acceptance is concerned, I must say that Indian Air Force is the best. Of course, Indian Army and Indian Navy is also are doing their best. But Indian Armies, I would say, still a little on a back foot because one of my friend is still fighting for her colonel rank, and still Indian Army is not really giving them permanent commissions. Recently, of course, Supreme Court has given the decision, and they will ultimately, women in the army also will be given permanent commission. But the process is very slow. Whereas in the Indian Air Force, it has been extremely smooth sailing and extremely very friendly, and everybody was really accepting us with open arms.
That's very nice to hear that the women are now accepted at that level, because I have my entire family from the forces, and even I have lady officers in our family. So it's we hear many stories. It's very inspiring to hear all that. Commander Joshi, it's wonderful talking to you. Quickly, I want to know 3 things that you would tell our viewers today. For the young generation, that what they should do to keep their life happy and better.
I think the best thing to keep your life happy is be physically fit. If you're physically fit, definitely your mental makeup will be good. And most important thing is just believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, Everything is possible. You may come from any background, humble background, middle class family, remote areas. If you, if there is a sincerity of purpose, I think you can achieve anything. But foremost important thing is you must believe in yourself that you can do it and you will be able to do it. So I would
That's
like to tell all the girls there in the remotest part of India that don't think that you have, if you have studied in vernacular medium, if you're not so fluent in speaking English, still, if you feel you can do, if you wish, you want to reach somewhere, if you dream big, you can achieve it.
That's so nice to hear. So, to my viewers, all I want to say is if Wing Commander Joshi could do it, I'm sure anybody at that level could do it. Thank you so much once again for being a part of this special series that is Choose to Challenge. And I'm really honored and privileged to have you on this show. And it's beautiful for all the listeners to hear many inspiring, stories and of course takeaways for this show. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was real honor.
I thank all our viewers and please like, share and subscribe to our channel Fauji Talk Show. And don't forget to put your views in the comment section. For more interesting stories, please stay tuned. Till then, stay safe, stay home. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Jai Hind.
Efauji Talks is brought to you by IESECCI, Indian Ex-Defence Service Employees Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Thanks to its vast veteran network and global and pan-India associates, IESECCI can carry out various commerce facilitations and CSR projects across India and the world. Some of IESECCI's core capability areas are Skill India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Digital India, any ex-serviceman welfare or job program, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan related projects, telemedicine and healthcare training and job scheme, Save Water scheme, defence industry SME, MSME cluster and hub development, maritime training and inland water training with job facilitation, Canada study, job and permanent residency opportunity, e-commerce, Andaman and Nicobar commerce opportunities. It is IESECCI's effort to create a veterans brand made by the veterans, for the veterans and made up of the veterans. Every Indian's support is invaluable in this journey. IESECCI is a registered society for ex-servicemen's welfare and envisions that every veteran should be a part of India's economic growth story. It is the aim of IESECCI to create an enabling commerce platform that will empower and synergize the veterans' talent pool. This is possible only with the support of entrepreneurs, businesses and consultants from civil society. All proceeds, if any, are utilized for the welfare of ex-servicemen and for public charity.